as the megaphone for individuals who have endured transformational change. By highlighting trials and triumphs, our desire is to create a safe space for pivotal conversations, which in turn will deepen the story and provoke hope for you, our listeners. As you may know, change is never easy, but it is inevitable. You are not alone in what you're facing. Your transformation is possible, purposeful, and now. And here's Aaron Wiggum.
Hi, I'm Aaron Wiggum, and I am one of the hosts of New Voices. New Voices has served as a megaphone for individuals who have endured transformational change by highlighting trials and triumphs. Our show creates a safe space for pivotal conversations, which, in turn, will deepen the story and provoke hope for you, our listeners. As you may know, change is never easy, but it is inevitable. You are not alone in what you are facing, and we want to thank all of our listeners who have tuned in to these stories throughout the years. In this final batch of episodes for 2025, we are going back to some truly amazing stories from past episodes. I have had truly inspirational humans come on this show and bare their souls through personal stories and triumphs. In this episode, Strong Pivots is the name of the game. At New You, a strong pivot is a recognized change from one thing that might not be serving you to another adventure or opportunity that is aligned to your values. Whether it's through the New You programming or not, our guests on New Voices have defined what it looks like to do a strong pivot. They figured things out about themselves, they have found out about the world, and made the change they thought necessary. Starting off, I'm taking it back to Raquel Wilson again, who, as an individual in financial empowerment, has had to make many pivots towards financial success. Raquel has proven herself to be an amazing individual. She has shown great success across multiple disciplines. And even being early career, she's made strides towards leadership and movement in this ecosystem as well as others that have truly set her apart from her peer group. One notable thing is that she was able to go back, pay off all of her school debt via cryptocurrency. And so she's just amazing resource, amazing human. You're going to hear more of her story and the beauty of knowing the necessity of being an individual. You're going to hear more of that in a moment from Raquel Wilson. There we go, right? It makes diamonds or bust pipes, right? And so let's talk about the pressure that was on you as a young African-American woman in a PWI from Toledo, Ohio. It's not Miami, New York, LA, Chicago. It's Toledo, right?
Half the size of Tulsa.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, but this trail that you're blazing is a trail that was pressure cooked. We can drop a bomb on that one. This trail was pressure cooked, right? And how have you navigated that pressure and delivering and rising to the occasion in those moments?
You know, when you said pressure cooker, I thought about a crock pot and two different crock pots.
Yeah.
One that has a meal that has no seasoning.
Okay.
And one that does.
Mm-hmm.
They're both pressure cooked. I feel like my life is the one with seasoning simply because although there is inherent pressures in my life, which I'll talk about, I still did the work.
Yeah.
And I really attribute a lot of grace in my journey. Supernatural things have happened, but for supernatural things, you still have to do the natural work for the super to match it, right?
That's right.
So It starts even from birth. Like, I wasn't supposed to be here. My parents had lots and lots of miscarriages, and the whole church was praying for me, not only as a preacher's kid, but for me to survive. I was born as a preemie and ended up being an only child in my family. So not only wasn't I an only child, but I am also a woman. And I realized around middle high school that, if I do nothing, the Wilson last name dies out here. And I chose actively to start adding that seasoning to make sure that this last name did not die here. And that even relates to the brand name of my upcoming app, the For Our Last Names app. Because we can build wealth for our last names if we choose to work towards it, if we get ourselves educated and empowered, and also if there are organizations to support, right? So just knowing that I was an only child and a Black woman, I knew that I had to make something shake, right? Then I'll also say my mom became a widow when I was a freshman in high school. And that was not only hard for her, but hard for me. And at that moment, I realized, well, money doesn't grow on trees. And this school is $10,000 a year back in 2000. So it's even more now.
Wow.
Mind you, my parents invested in me going to private school from kindergarten through 12th grade. So the importance of money started to become very important to me after that point, adding to the pressure, right? And I always picked up some different side hustles or odd jobs. I mean, back in college, I was assisting with papers. And I would say that for me, I was always trying to climb this ladder that I couldn't reach the rung for of financial literacy. And then I came to a point of being able to learn more and being able to learn more about cryptocurrency and then paying off my student loans with my cryptocurrency profits and feeling like I was catching some of those rungs, adding more seasoning, doing more of the work to now share it to others who also were trying to reach the rungs of the ladder and not achieving on their wealth journey.
Gotcha.
So I will say that not only have those ascribed experiences of being an only child, a girl only child, as well as being the daughter of a widow, also seeing the effect of active work, of intentional work, of faith and works, made me want to go harder and share it with other people to have the hope infect them as well.
Wow.
Even with my classroom, the personal finance curriculum I created for them, I saw how it impacted students. I saw how students were asking me, Miss Wilson, how can I actually start investing after class? So that made me realize, wow, I need to turn this into a book. That's how the second book came about. It's called Personal Finance Crash Course, What They Didn't Teach You in School, because they don't teach this in school. I had to create it for my students, and they're so great. They graduated at a 93% graduation rate, 12% higher than Tulsa. We need a bond for that.
I love it. Yes.
That's amazing.
There we go.
So when I talk about my journey, I always like to look at the glass half full versus half empty. Yes, it was a heck of a lot of pressure. But there's a lot of grace that came with that. There was also a lot of supernatural opportunity that came with that. And there was a lot of inspiration from others, which continues to help me inspire others, a positive feedback loop.
Yeah. Wow. That's, I didn't even know that was going to go that deep. But you started back with birth. The pressure started at birth. You had to come into this world after attempt after attempt after attempt after attempt. You had to come into this world, and you persevered, and you were living a life of perseverance and of triumph, right? And wow, we can go down the rabbit hole with that one. I love it. I love it. That's amazing.
Resilience is real, man, but it can be built. And I just want anyone that's listening as well to know that even if they don't feel like they have perseverance now, that it can be built. It can be built.
Yeah, it's a muscle.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure. And so, you're achieving, the pressure's still on, you're growing and you're becoming and you're getting accolades, but the pressure's still on. Have you ever had any bouts with imposter syndrome, or have you ever had fear kind of pin you in a corner and tell you who you're not? Right.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. What are some instances in your life where either fear or imposter syndrome or, naysayer or whatever kind of just had you in a corner and you didn't really know how to get out?
Yes. And the same way that I say I'm a recovering perfectionist, I will say I'm recovering from imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Similar to grief, it comes in waves. And for me, it always comes at transition points. When I was transitioning from being a teacher and grade level chair and moving into this role as director of development, I felt a lot of imposter syndrome. I felt like, who am I to hop from the classroom into this administrative, executive, as some friends would call it, big girl role, right? And I realized that this actually came from one of my NU activities. I wrote down, your individuality is necessary. And I had to do more than just write it down. I had to believe it.
Yeah.
And as I started to believe it, and even as I believe it, through every transition point, I realized that I bring a special thing to this role. I bring a special thing to this creation.
Yeah.
Even as I developed this fintech app, I've had moments where I'm like, listen, I'm a financial educator. I'm a financial advocate. Like, I do this. I'm nationally recognized for this. However, fintech is a whole new world.
It's a whole new world.
Am I a fintech founder? And I had to understand that it doesn't matter how new I am to it. Everyone was new to their industry at some point in time.
That's it.
And I know my expertise. I know my zone of genius.
Yeah.
And that's where teamwork, that's where delegation comes in. That's where really emphasizing having the right team can really help you decrease imposter syndrome, because now you know it's not all on you. And I'm really excited for what me and my CTO are going to be creating.
Yeah.
But imposter syndrome comes in waves, and affirmations as well. That's something that's super, super important. Even on my wealth journey, I'm like, you know, I've done this before and I've done this before. I bought a house, you know, I've paid off this and I've done this, and it's great. But it's like, sometimes I still have imposter syndrome, but I get back in my holistic money mindset and I read my affirmations every day and I say, number one, I wrote this for a reason.
Yeah.
And number two, I've done this before.
Wow.
So let's keep going.
Yeah. Now, this next guest is a huge part of the New You family. Cecilia is a powerhouse of a woman. She's eloquent, wise, and honest. I love this story that she shared with our listeners on diving into entrepreneurship after a pivotal career change at 50. Being released from something allowed her to be open to something else. Cecilia is one of my favorite people on earth. She would tell you the truth with no chaser. And sometimes that is necessary. It's like medicine. Sometimes it doesn't feel good, but it's still good for you. And so Cecilia has been a great sounding board for me as a founder, and a huge support as I've navigated Tulsa and the evolution of New You. She is truly in my corner and I'm truly in hers. You're going to hear some words of wisdom from this sage young woman, my good friend, Cecilia Wessinger. Because I believe that a lot of times, the beautiful thing about hitting rock bottom is the ability to bounce back.
Yeah.
And you don't bounce back sometimes until you hit rock bottom.
Absolutely.
Right? And so let's talk about a low point in your journey, personal, professional, wherever you want to take it. A low point that you felt like you hit rock bottom. And when you got there, what were your feelings around that time? What were you did therapy help you? Like, what helped you to trigger and bounce back?
So several times, right? I mean, you can't live all these years on earth without having some of that. And you're right about the hitting rock bottom.
Yes.
And I remember in my 20s when I was feeling aimless, like I didn't know what I was going to do. And I said something about hitting bottom. And somebody said to me, you'll know when you hit it because you haven't hit it yet, you know? And the interesting thing about hitting rock bottom is that the harder you fall, the higher you can bounce,
That's it.
right?
That's it.
So understanding what you have. And he said, you won't appreciate what you actually have until you hit that.
That's it.
And those are the people that stay around you, right? So surround yourselves with good people, not people that are judgy in a way that tells you the trends and the things that you're the magazine surface, whatever. I don't think that that's the way you want to go. I think that the people that will call you out, right, and help lift you up,
call you up,
right. And I was talking to, there was an episode in West Wing I was talking to somebody about, and there was a thing about alcohol addiction, which I thankfully did. I have plenty of other addictions, but there was a scene where somebody talks about being in a hole, right? And there was a guy in a hole, and he kept calling out for help, and people would pass him by, and then somebody jumped in the hole with them, and the guy in the hole said, "What are you doing? Now we're both in a hole." And he said, "Yeah, but I've been here and I know the way out." And that's a really powerful thing.
That's very powerful.
Finding somebody like that. So yeah, the divorce was hard. Like I said, going into my little Springsteen universe and talking about music and things that brought you joy. But I think that the big pivot, which I've shared with you, is when I got fired from my soul-sucking job. So 20 plus years in the travel industry, middle management, got to travel around the world and do some really cool things. And I really did avoid hotels for a long time, right? I've been in car rental. I've even sold vacation ownership. But hotels are a pretty dysfunctional family.
Yes.
Okay. Sales blames operations. Operations blames sales. 100%. Nobody likes housekeeping. Those poor people, And I remember the first time I walked into the housekeeping meeting, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I just wanted to thank you for taking care of our guests and let you know, like, some of the VIPs that are coming in." And they said, "You are the first person in management we've ever seen here in this room."
Wow.
Right? Like, we go to the head of the housekeeping.
Right.
So I got invited by a person who I thought was a friend to come and migrate from a hotel I was working at the time to the hotel that I got fired from. And look, I'm not saying that I was the best salesperson or I really enjoyed the relationships that I built. But after I got fired, it was 2 weeks before I turned 50, right before I got fired, right as I got fired, my friends would say to me, "Oh, you hated that job." And I was like, why didn't anybody say anything? Right?
You saw me die, they didn't say anything.
Absolutely. I'm like, oh my gosh. So understanding that it was something around being authentic and a sense of integrity, like following through on the promise, and that friction that you feel when you know the right thing to do, but you don't do it. And so I made myself a couple of promises, right? These are non-negotiables. I will never sacrifice my integrity for the sake of a paycheck ever again.
Nice.
Right? So understanding that that doesn't mean that I won't do sales, right? Because sales wasn't the issue.
Right.
It was a compromise, and I don't want to compromise things that are important, like values, morals, and integrity.
That's it.
Right? So then, well, who's going to hire me at 50? A middle management person who's had this career, and travel industry is like the first thing cut, and the last thing to come back. And navigating that. So I had, because I was in travel, I had this epic trip planned for my 50th birthday. And so you could shut yourself in and say, I want to get away from the world, or I could freak out like I've done in the past and try to find a new gig, right? And understanding that nobody wants to hire a desperate person. So really, you got to get in the right headspace.
Right.
The other thing is, look, I'm turning 50, and regardless of what happens, I'm going to celebrate me. So I went on that trip. And part of that trip took me to the Grand Canyon. I wanted to whitewater raft in the Grand Canyon. I'm a little lazy, so I didn't really want to hike down. I wasn't going to get on a donkey, but I found this really cool trip where I helicoptered into the canyon.
Nice.
We whitewatered for a couple of days. I don't really camp either. That's why I was in the travel industry.
So you were glamping?
I was well, it is really camping.
Okay.
But you only did it for a couple of days, and then I drove back. But something really struck me. So I had friends that joined me, which is really reassuring, right? So you need those people that are going to show up in your deep, dark moments and in your moments of celebration. And we were downtown, and we were driving back on the strip, and we stopped at a traffic light right by the Stratosphere. And I looked over to my right, and there were words on a door. And I felt really compelled that I made them stop the car to take a picture of these words. And if I can share them with you, I'd love to read them to you. So the words that that I saw, I didn't know it at the time. It said things like, "This is your life. Do what you love and do it often. If you don't like something, change it. If you don't like your job, quit. If you don't have enough time, stop watching TV. If you're looking for if you're looking for the love of your life, stop. They'll be waiting for you when you start doing things you love. Stop overanalyzing. All the emotions are beautiful. When you eat, appreciate every last bite. Life is simple. Open your mind, arms, heart to new things and people. We are united in our differences. Ask the next person you see what their passion is and share your inspiring dream with them. Travel often. Get lost. Getting lost will help you find yourself. Some opportunities only come once. Seize them. Life is about the people you meet and the things that you create with them. So go out and start creating. Life is short. Live your dream and share your passion." And I didn't know what all that meant, but I was like, oh, okay, I'm inspired. I got back from Vegas. I didn't have a job to go to. And I had just turned 50, and there were 4 states left to go before I could check off the box that said I'd been to all 50 states.
Gotcha.
So I jumped in my car, and I drove a couple of road trips that summer, and I drove 10,000 miles during the course of a couple of months, 6,000 of it by myself, which gives you a lot of time to think.
Yes.
And figure out what you want to do and what your dreams were and fill your soul and visit nature and all of those things that you needed to nourish yourself.
Yes.
Because I think that when you hit that bottom, you're hollow, right? And there's this echoing thing and you just trying to figure out, like, is there anything that sticks?
Yes.
So that road trip, I realized that there was this idea that I'd been percolating for over about a decade. And it was a really good idea. And I jumped headfirst into entrepreneurship. I didn't remember that I was surrounded by entrepreneurs all my life, but they inspired me to just kind of go on and try to figure things out. I'm a serial volunteer. So when I jumped into entrepreneurship, I started meeting people and asking how I could help. And along the way, it bridged me to a whole new career. So I wasn't a successful entrepreneur in that realm. I never launched my startup, but along the journey, people recognize that this thing that I do naturally, being in community, helping to connect people, identifying dots and coordinating them, that inspired somebody to say, you know what, I think you're an entrepreneurial ecosystem builder. And it was at a time when nobody said ecosystem.
Yeah.
And now everybody says ecosystem and you wonder what it means, right? But I am now helping to define that in a way that is equitable and inclusive. And so that's an amazing opportunity, right? I have the honor and privilege of being able to help people realize their dream. And how cool is that?
Wow, that's powerful. Finally, the most connected man in the world, Chris Dancy dropped some great information, wisdom, and perspective for our listeners. Chris lives to pivot and change the way that they are able to help people and move ideas forward. They share a really powerful story about divine serendipity that more than twice spurred them into action. Chris was a connection for me. And as soon as we got on the phone together, it was like magic. You're going to hear some wonderful information and a story that is so untapped and so untold. It left me speaking about it for weeks. Chris has had some amazing inventions, and really, Chris has lived multiple lifetimes. to be honest with you, but it's still a young person. And so we're excited to have their story told on our platform. I welcome none other than Chris Dancy. What did it take? Talk about what it took.
And quit smoking.
Yeah. So all of these pivotal changes, right? Just talk about what it took to actually accomplish that. What did it actually take from you as a soul?
I hate to say it. So I'm going to start with the cost.
Okay.
Because everyone's like, I don't want what you did, Christine. So let's talk about the cost first. So what no one tells you about losing weight or quitting smoking or getting a better job or fixing any of your life problems is it's not your life anymore. If you've had a problem for long enough, that's your life. Yes. And the minute you lose the weight, change the spouse, get the better job, get your teeth fixed, get the muffler replaced, that's not your life. Some of your friends don't know you're driving up to the house because the muffler ain't making noise.
Right.
And no one tells you the price of admission. They just tell you how good the movie was.
That's right. Yeah.
And for me, I don't know. And I've spent the last 5 years trying to actually get a little bit of a refund back on some of the life changes I made because it's hard not knowing who you are. Ask anyone who's lost a lot of weight. And if they're honest with you, they'll tell you the hardest part wasn't losing the weight. It was not knowing their body. When you put jeans on, you don't believe it's you. It's called dysmorphia. No, it's serious. I still have to look at other people's jeans and go, wait, am I a 32? Because there's no way. That's a 32. It's like this latest picture of the president. You're saying he's 6'3", 215. I'm like, no. But that's the cost. But, to get there, though, you have to be willing to do two things. The first thing is make yourself a number, which stinks. So if it's money you're worried about, then what's your number? What do you got to earn a year? Or what do you what do you got to stop spending a month? If it's weight, what's your number? What's your BMI? If it's health, what's your blood sugar? What's your heart rate? What's your blood pressure? If it's, if it's family, it's how many hours you're spending with your kids. What's your number? I hate to say it, but you got to figure out the number. After your number, you kind of have to go and apologize to a bunch of people before you get to step two and say, I have to be a number for a bit, which means I can't be dad, I can't be your friend, I can't be your drinking buddy. But once you commit to saying, okay, I am the number now, the rest of it is not counting the number, but just doing it. I always say, you don't get better by counting steps, you get better by taking them. Doing the number is different than counting the number. Once you know the number, okay, I'm gonna lose 100 pounds. That's kind of okay. But doing it's hard because it's just million small little things you have to do.
Right.
So, first step is become a number. The second one is just do the number. And that sounds relatively simple, but you get it. Because the minute you don't recognize yourself, you're doing the number.
Yeah.
But every day you're doing the number, you're not doing it. Because when you do the number, you don't know. You got to lose yourself.
That's it. That's good.
So identity loss, that's kind of the key to all ills in your life.
So
whatever you think is wrong, you've got to lose you.
Yeah. Lose you to find yourself. Yeah.
And it's true because people don't understand how fundamental it is to habit change, losing who you think you are. Because even my friends, when I'd go out drinking or I'd have 10-pack of White Castles on a picture on Facebook in 2010, everybody was like, I love White Castles. Yeah. But the minute I started posting salads, no one came around.
Nobody, yeah. Silence.
Because people want the show.
Yes. Yeah.
Most of the people in your life want the show. They don't want you. Yeah. And if someone really wants you, they're probably not in your life if your values don't align. And my mama used to say, Miss Helen used to say at the time, Christopher, you'll only ever be as good as the 5 people the most. So it's the sum of the 5, you'll only be as successful as the most successful person you know.
Right. Yeah.
And I just had to lose myself, so it didn't matter who I knew. I could become them. Sorry.
No, you're good. So two more questions. One, I want to know, can you take us through a point where you didn't know what to do next? It could have been the loss of your friend to HIV. It could have been any myriad of things. Talk about a period where you just didn't know what to do next, and how did you muster through that?
Can I talk about woo?
Okay, who's this?
Woo, like spirituality.
Oh yes, yeah.
So I wasn't raised very spiritual, man. Anytime I got to a point where I didn't know what to do next, woo happened. God, Jesus, whatever you want to call it. When my lover passed away in 1993, I went outside because, the police were there and he's, dead in bed. And I woke up, he's already dead. And like, I'm losing my mind. And my dog's out there. Dog runs out in the street. Dog gets hit by a car. My lover just died, and suddenly I walk back inside. I didn't even want to see the dead dog. And the landlord comes, you got to get Buster. You got to get Buster. I said, what do you mean he's dead? And he goes, no, he's right here on stage, right? Same day, father and mother hear that my lover passed away. They show up after not talking because they didn't want to talk to me. Not only was I gay, but I was dating someone with HIV positive. So it's like every time I truly hit that kind of, there's nothing left, jail, right? Yeah. Ends up that the person who's doing the checkout at the jail is my best friend from high school's mother. It was like, there's been all these kind of major, my mother dies, right? Yeah. So I literally like flying down to see her. I'm at the airport, early 2000s, phone rings. She'd actually just passed away. She wasn't the test. She didn't even go to the test. She had a massive heart attack. I'm losing my mind. I walk into a gift store to get a stuffed animal for my brother's kid. And it was a Beanie Baby, and the Beanie Baby's name was Dancy, which is my last name, and had my mother's birthday. So like, there have always been these outrageous, spiritually synchronistic events. And I don't know if I'm just open to them but something always reaches down and saves me. It's different than luck. When like I was just lucky and like bad things would happen. I'd be lucky. This is like an intervening hand of God. And I don't want to like upset anyone if you don't like God or you don't like whatever. But if I had to say, what did you do when you didn't know what to do? I didn't have to do anything. I was always taken care of.
Wow.
I wish I could say I had some magic. And I think the more I believed that, the more it happened more. They call it faith for a reason.
Yeah. Well, wow, that's good, man. And you know what? I agree with you 100%. I mean, anything that's been monumental in my life, whether it was something that was good or something that was devastating, I agree with you 100% that when, I believe in a firm statement that man's extremity is God's opportunity. And so when I'm at my very wit's end, it's like, that's when God is ever present. And you get to see the difference between my inability and what he's fully capable of doing in and through me. And so that's I love how you shared that.
There's a quote I love. It's the place God calls you to is where your deepest gladness and the world's deepest hunger meet.
Say that again for us.
Yeah. The place God calls you to is where your deepest gladness and the world's deepest hunger meet.
Wow.
And when I think back about my life, the thing that truly makes me happy is just the resilient feeling of, I must swear, but because I don't know, I just feel like I have to say it this way. I don't care how bad it is, I'm going to fuck up a bad system.
Okay.
I'm going to fuck up a bad system. Because, I tell Jessica all the time, the only thing that beats a bad system is a better one.
Yeah, true.
It doesn't matter what it is, racism to poverty. The only thing that beat a bad system is a better one. And man, do I make good systems.
Yeah. Wow, this is good, man. I tell you what, let's close with a call to action. What's some action steps you would leave for our listeners? And then how can they best follow you, contact you, or,
Well, first, don't, because I don't do social media very well.
Okay,
I got a little following here and there, but it's just ranty. You get to be my age, you don't care about, all that kind of stuff. So first thing is, you don't have to find me. If you do want to chat, my phone number literally is on my website. My husband will tell you I get phone calls from people all the time I don't know, and not bill collectors, just people just say, hey, I heard you on this show, or I read your book, or just I heard about you. And, first things first, if you need anything, you can literally call me up, because I want you to know, if you're listening to this right now, I've probably been where you are, or I probably know someone, and I will listen and I will do what I can. Because at the end of the day, everyone either needs a connection, someone to talk to, or some resource help. Second thing is people today need to really consider what they value. And that word gets tossed around a lot. But for me, really deciding what my values were. So they're health, home, family, work, finances, and service. And then taking those 6 values and saying, well, what does that mean? Well, it means that I don't do these things. I do these things. I literally have them written down. I mean, if I'm my spouse and I, my friends, I even have a terms of service like software I give to my actual friends, make them sign it. And just stick to it. The one thing I was told that I did not believe for the longest time is your people are out there. And, it sounds hard because you're like, oh, so many people say you don't have friends. And you're like, but your people are out there. You just need to be very discriminating. The right people will come to you. And if you don't got friends or you don't have a relationship, a lot of people are like, I need a relationship, I need a partner, I need more friends. You have to do the work. You cannot make friends by following people on social media. Friends take work. You have to show up. You cannot be friends or have a relationship with a spouse by texting them. It takes voices. Relationships take all your senses: sight, voice, touch, smell. There's a reason sex smells, right? So if you're missing people from your life, you are not using all your senses. God gave you senses, right? And I wonder how many people, if they just were to use something more than their brain and their fingers, would find so much love. You got to do the work for relationships. I guess that's my biggest message. So you got to be involved in people's lives. And I know it's hard. They might turn their back on you, but get it out of the way sooner. You will pay the toll either way. Just get it out of the way. Sorry, I could go on about this.
No, that's good. That's good, man. Well, listen, I really appreciate this time we've shared. Man, you've dropped some real gems in here. And give us the book one more time, the book title.
If it's even still out, I don't know. If not, I'll send it to you. It's called Don't Unplug: How Technology Saved My Life and Can Save Yours Too. Okay. PDF, I read it on Audible, so you get to listen to me rant and talk about Michael Jackson for 8 hours on Audible. Okay. It's good, but don't buy the book. Just take that money and give it to a stranger and listen to this show twice.
Okay. I hope you've enjoyed these messages around pivots and transformation. It is critical in life that we learn how to pivot. Change is going to happen. We're changing. You're a different person from when you first turned this on. We all are changing all the time. And being able to pivot and roll with those changes is something that will help you to really make a difference in the next iteration or the next season of your life. When the pandemic hit, I began to do a segment with our students at a university I was working at the time, and it was called Pivot, Don't Panic. The campus was shutting down. The students were frustrated because they had to go back home, and they didn't really know what to do with their time. And I felt led to tell them, this is the time to panic about the world shutting down or their jobs or their careers or whatever. This is the time to pivot. And the people that learn how to pivot, a lot of them started companies. A lot of them have gone on to do amazing things during the pandemic. And some people, they really kind of got stuck. And so it's not about what you're in. It's about not letting what you're in get in you. The other thing that I'll say about pivots is that you're going to have to do them scared. Pivoting will never be comfortable, but it will be what you need in the moment that you need it. When you know that you need to change, you know you need to pivot, you know you need to course correct, make the change necessary. Because here's the thing, there's not many things in life you have control over, but the things you do, you need to have control over them. Your pivot will determine, or if you pivot, I should say, will determine if your next is for you or against you. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for listening to this episode of New Voices. Visit our website at www.newuunlimited.com. That is NEWU Unlimited.com. Follow us on social media at New You Unlimited on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And a special thank you to our producer, Jesse Ulrich. If you're looking for self-improvement, join our programs for personal and professional development. New You is a way for diverse talent to imagine, discover, and actualize a 2.0 version of yourself. Bring your future into focus.